this computer. Okay, now we're live. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm gonna put the gallery view. There we go. That's a little better.
Okay.
Well, thank you two for joining me. I really, really
no
appreciate
problem.
this. I'm very excited. I watched the video myself today and cringed the entire time.
Why?
Oh, just like looking at me from a very younger portion from freshman year.
I feel that.
I'm with you on that one.
That's 4 years ago.
It feels like it's been much more than that.
Feels like a decade.
I know it does.
But I mean, it brought all the nostalgia back for me. I know that. So I just have a couple questions for you guys.
Sure.
If you guys would be so willing to answer them. We're just going to talk about the experience. First of all, how are you, before we even do this, how are you guys? How is Los Angeles? How are you guys holding up in the quarantine?
Good. Yeah. First couple weeks, like you almost, got a little stir crazy, but then like you settle into it, you find your own routine every day, and it makes it a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, we've had the advantage of having a balcony in an apartment building in California. So like our mornings, we get to just walk outside and be in the sun for a couple of hours every day.
Yeah.
So it's social distancing, but we at least get some like vitamin D. So we're not completely losing our minds yet.
Right. Yeah. And we take a drive or we take a walk in a neighborhood that's safe, wear a mask, of course. So it's not too bad.
Well, I'm glad you guys are safe. I'm glad you guys are healthy. Could you just state your names and your graduate years for me and the characters you played? I completely forgot to ask this. So.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
What year is it now? And what year did I graduate?
You graduated in 2018.
Okay. My name is Dan Carroll. I graduated in 2018.
What character?
Oh, and I played Demetrius.
I'm Joey McCary, and I graduated in 2017, and I played Puck.
Awesome. Okay. So starting off with some of these questions, feel free to chime in, both of you. You talk to each other. This is just a conversation, as I said. So a lot of magic of the play that we've done really has to do about the collective chemistry. Has to do with a lot of the collective energy and chemistry between the cast members. How did you guys feel the cast members navigated to work together for this play? Like, how is the language and the movement, like, how was it differentiated between each group? Between like the lovers in the court, the mechanics, the fairy court, like how would you say that kind of affected your take on the play for you as a character and actor?
Sure.
Yeah. So first of all, the ensemble that we made, all the actors that were in that show were really dear friends. Like, it was a joy to be with all of those people. They were so talented, and TDF is just, a family, like, in that sense. What Mary, our director, really kind of hammered in from the get-go is that, like, the tone that the fairies had and mechanicals and the lovers had to differentiate very clearly, so that you knew you were in the world of the fairies, you knew you were in the world of the mechanics and their play. So for the fairies, that was like buttoning, which means like hitting certain words with like little sign language, which I thought was a lot of fun. And the mechanics kind of had that rebel rouser attitude about them. So I mean, it was clear to me. What do you think?
Yeah, for me, I would say this was my first acting experience ever. And this was my first introduction to 30 people that knew each other already. Mm-hmm. So I kind of got caught up in the romance of it all because I was meeting all of these people. Mm-hmm. So I was a little less concerned with like the separation, because I didn't even know really that was something that we should be working on. I was trying to figure out what it was I was saying and not flub up any of my lines because my diction was absolutely terrible. But I was having so much more fun just like meeting everyone. So I think that ended up adding to it, was hanging out with everybody off of set and like getting to know the people that you were working with. Was so much fun. And I think it kind of bled through into the work, that there were strong relationships there because there were strong relationships off stage.
Yep.
Yeah.
And which includes, crew also. Like the person that helped me rappel, Cole
Forgot
Peasley.
about rappelling.
Yeah. The guy who helped me rappel, his name is Cole Peasley. He was in TDF like all his 4 years, as well as other stuff. He made it so much easier because we were friends, and I trusted him with my life. You know what I mean? Because that was high. Like, rappelling was scary, and because we were so close, it was like, boom.
Is Britt coming in later?
So she was supposed to. Her and Brian and Sabrina just canceled.
Oh no.
Well, someone has to tell those stories of the rappelling incidences.
Yeah.
We are not discussing incidences.
There was no problems.
It's okay. That we have someone who's going to work on all of this. But to talk about the work, and specifically, we just talked about movement and the energy. What did you think about the show being performed in the round? How did that heighten and intensify the story being shared for the audience? Like, and then to go off of that, what do you felt were the drawbacks and limitations? Like, I could definitely say that one of the limitations is viewing it on a video. Like, there's such an energy about putting it in, like, being there in the audience. But again, comparing like the round to like having it be almost like presented on like a thrust stage, like how does that work for you guys? How did it work for you?
Yeah, that was terrifying for me, because
Really?
I'd taken a acting 101 class. I knew what blocking was. I was still trying to learn stage left from stage right, and then we're in the round. And the one rule that Mary would scream at you in an acting class is your back is to the audience, and now your back is always to somebody.
Yeah.
So like you're turning constantly and you're adding to it, but it added so much for the magical characters.
Yeah.
Like, it was driving me nuts, but when you could come down and you were completely in the circle, or like when you saw people riding on that rope that we had in the middle of in the stage, and then all of the set built behind people, I think it added so much more to the magic that gets brought into the show. But for the non-magical people, I think it was just like fighting an uphill battle the whole time.
I love working in the round. I don't know what it is.
You're a monster.
I find it more intimate, and I feel like I can just envelop the audience. Like, and in that regard, I think it's challenging because you have to be even more performative than you usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, theater is very exaggerated, but like you really have to work multiple sides of your body, multiple sides of your face. For me, because I was Puck, and I rappelled, and also like I incorporated a lot of dance into my physicality. So that dance, like maybe it was like a turn, like towards the audience, then back to the character, just because it's sprightly and there's something like mischievous about how I moved.
Oh yeah, no, I get it.
But sometimes I did feel like we were on top of the audience, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's fun for them.
I think it makes it intimate, like you said. It draws them in and forces them to almost give their attention to not just one person, but make sure that they are aware of their entire surroundings, just like you.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Okay, continuing on. What did you find about, like, and we've already kind of talked about the buttoning, but like when you think of the diction and the tone, how was the process of managing that for you guys, like for the language, like the highs and lows? Like, how did you personally work and get to understand what you were saying? Because this isn't regular English that we speak right now. Like, how did you make sure that you understood what was happening?
I mean, I think I had an easier go at it, to be honest, because I might be flubbing the semantics here, but I think the fairy spoke more in like poetic iambic pentameter, whereas the mechanicals and maybe the lovers a little bit less. So it was easier for me to get into like the rhythm of what I was speaking and like the romantic kind of words I was saying.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think it was not too bad. you know, like people in high school, they're like terrified of Shakespeare because it is intimidating. You're basically speaking a dead language. But once you tap into what is being said, I think it's like pretty cool that we're able to speak words from 600 years ago.
No, I agree. Dan, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, there were some moments where I was just saying words that I had no idea what they meant. And but like after we've done more Shakespeare, yeah, it was like the first thing, and then afterwards I'm like, oh, you don't know what you're saying, kid, because like you learn more about like what he's talking about, the words he uses, all the double entendres, all the play on words that he has, and like usages of words that you think mean something then versus what they mean now, and right, you're using the present context of the word when he doesn't mean it that way. So I had a rough go at what I was talking about. But,
I have a hard time speaking regular English like right now. So
yeah,
same.
I'd get notes from Megan Chang that were just like, you were pronouncing every single word wrong.
Our voice and diction teacher.
Yeah, I had like 16 different setup meetings with her where I would just have to work on like, you know, breathing with your stomach, which still sounds crazy. But yeah, I had a rough go with the Shakespeare language as like a first show.
I couldn't tell watching it, I'll tell you that. I don't think I could tell from anyone when I rewatched it.
Yeah.
You were acting me in some corners there. And you only don't see it because you're very humble. But other people are going to see it. It's bad.
But going off of that and just like some of the challenges, like what, if you could go back to the beginning of the production process, like what would you almost do differently with yourself? Like after, I don't know if you both watched it, but do you like, are there any moments you think like, oh, I really wish like I was able to convey this more or intensify this moment more than I already saw? Like, what is there anything in that sense?
You know, it's funny. In the first audition / callback, and well, it would have been the callback because auditions we come in with a different monologue. I already decide. I'm getting to the question, but in a weird
no worries.
way.
Please speak.
I almost created my own character from callbacks and the way I spoke and all that kind of stuff about Puck. And Mary, thank God she said this. She was like, you didn't do the homework yet. How do you know that this is what your character sounds like and moves like before you even like get into the real work here? So I think, and this is more to your point about like the challenge here and like what I would have done differently. I'm so glad that I got that note because I would have done the whole thing differently. So now when I look at the thing, like the actual production, the play, I'm like, okay, I'm really comfortable with what I did because Mary said, hold up, like take a step back before you decide how this person reacts and thinks and talks and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I went bigger on a lot of things. I mean, because everything I was doing was so small and I didn't realize.
It was your first play.
Yeah, but like you don't realize how small until you're sitting there watching yourself.
We are our biggest critics though. Like I would not have changed anything there. Like or Joy, like what you guys did like was amazing. So
thank you.
You too, Ted.
You like, you know, you see yourself do things for like a second where like you wish you held it for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But you know, I don't mind any of that because it was all a good stepping stone to go off of.
Yeah.
Like every note that you get, everything that you do can just it's fodder to build the next fire, which is your next show or your next play, you know, your next musicale.
No, and then that goes right into like the couple of questions I wanted to ask. I mean, how do you think like, and we're going to speak a little more broader, but like, how does like this interpretation, how does theater that we did with this production, like the performance itself capture that like that friar spirit and that almost community feeling that like is special to all of us?
Sure.
Yeah, like this was the show that set me up for my entire PC experience. Because before I was playing rugby and I wasn't like getting along with the rugby guys, but we would like hang out together and we would do singing and dancing chants. And I was like, well, this is really fun. And I was taking an acting class, and then I like did this show, and then these became my best friends.
Yeah.
And then like, obviously we started dating during this show. So like this was the show that kind of kick-started the rest of our life. And then we started like hanging out with Brian and Logan and like you guys. And it was just, it like really made the rest of my college experience.
Our absolute best friends we found in TDF. And the thing about the production that like kind of is very Friar about it is that like we really made our own thing. I think that's the beauty of like how Mary works. First of all, like she has this very clear vision that at some point you're like, really? Like a steampunk sign language version of Midsummer? Like how is this gonna work? But it worked so well, and it was our own thing. And I think like when you step on this campus, you pave your own path here, and you pave your own, like, you know, you make your own friends and you find what your niche is. And like we found it in the play, and that's very indicative of what like the PC experience is like.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I get so emotional, first of all, talking about TDF because you have no idea what TDF has done. Sorry,
no.
For my life. I think about it all the time. And the memories and the experiences I had through TDF, like it will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me tear up.
I know. Well, it's hard not to. Like,
no.
I bet people who were in Friar's Club are like any of the other clubs, like they felt the same way about their club. Like, but TDF was more than just a club for us. It was, you know, the foundation of everything. We slept there basically, and we woke up there. I spent more time in that building than I think my own house.
Yeah, there's a point where you become obsessed.
But in a good way.
In a great way.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for the thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, my GPA suffered immensely during shows.
Yeah.
Like, because you're spending, I mean, like I was thinking during tech weeks, you'd be there till 11 and you would go home and you wouldn't fall asleep and wake up for an 8 a.m. with 9 hours of sleep. You'd be up until 2 or 3 in the morning poring over your notes again. And then you'd wake up for your 8 a.m. and you're sitting there, but you're still thinking about the show in the back of your head. Mm-hmm. There's something it's really addicting.
Yep.
But it's not in like an escapism way, but in like we're doing this project and it's just getting down to performance time. There's so much fun behind it. I haven't done a theater in a long time.
Do you guys have a favorite line from the show?
Yeah.
Bring me that boy. Get me that boy.
Our own lines or other people's
Doesn't
lines?
Matter. Whatever you want. I don't know any of my own lines. I remember other people's lines before my own.
I loved the scene I did with Aisling, who played one of the fairies. In the very beginning of the show, we're like kind of taunting each other. And I'd like to just say, watching it back, I basically pretended like I was a Jedi. I was literally just like choke holding people the entire time, which like was part of my thing.
Star Wars had just come out.
Yeah. Well, also I'm obsessed with Star Wars, but everyone knows that. But also like that's what I like. Puck is a fairy / a demon, so I played into that like mischievous part of him. But like we have a back and forth banter, and she says like, "Aren't you Robin Goodfellow?" Blah blah blah, and I like choke holded her, and I was like, "Thou speakest right. I am that merry wanderer of the night," and it's my favorite. I don't know why.
Such a merry wanderer, choking all the other fairies.
Ashling's like, oh. And it's just I don't know. I felt so powerful in that play. Oh, so cool.
All the lines that I remember are like Shakespearean, like bad words like canker blossom, like any
Oh yeah.
all of those I remember, and I think like, oh my god, that just makes me laugh.
We were laughing for a really long time about Jen Dorn, who played Helena? No,
Hermia.
She did this like jump, like to get.
She just
Did you
wrote.
see it on film?
What? You can see it.
Her foot gets up to my shoulder.
Yeah.
Yep.
How did we catch that?
I don't know, but she.
I mean, she's
committed,
tiny as all heck.
She committed
but
to that so hard, and I was like, "Girl."
She trusted us, and she probably shouldn't have trusted.
She should not have trusted us.
No.
We were looking the other way, Teddy. If you look, we were facing this way, and she's leaping. Sure, her foot is already at my waist.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It just shows you just like how like every moment was planned and just the intricalities that like came to movement, awareness, speaking, all of it. Well, I have one last question for you guys. It's more of like, again, a general thing, more of like a wholesome question. Why do you guys think the performing arts and theater is really important in general, and particularly during this current climate with like the quarantine and COVID-19? Like what can we learn from theater right now, and what can we get from it?
I don't know about from an audience watching standpoint. I don't know about much about that, but I know that I didn't learn how to be completely calm until I started acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was, I tried doing it with being an athlete in college for some point, and it would make my body calm, but my mind would still race. There's something about tuning into your own emotions that acting provides, that you can really try to see things clearer. You don't speak out as much. You're not quick with judgment. Everything is calmer because you understand so much more about yourself. That's what it meant to me. All the performing arts is really containing your emotions and then portraying them in a way that's human and that's real. And that really did mean a lot to me coming out of college.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing you take away from theater and the art of storytelling is empathy for others. I think we need more of that in this current climate.
Yeah.
Really badly. And I think we do need stories. Like I think some of the best stories have come out of like really tumultuous times. And I think like this is gonna be the thing we tell our kids about, and like what is that gonna sound like? Is it gonna be positive or is it gonna be negative? Is it gonna be something we regret or something that we're proud of because we did something with this time? Like we were creative or we showed deep compassion for other people and we were kind, versus moping all the time and being resentful and
History looks at the stories we tell, from like the Epic of Gilgamesh to the Marvel movies that just came out. And like this show that we did was about love, and it was a comedy, and it was fun. And sometimes when things get scary, you need to laugh.
Yep.
I agree.
Right? And then you need to remember love. And so this play had everything. And so I think that this is a very wholesome show that we put on.
Yeah.
And I think people walked away happier than they did when they walked in.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. I think everything that you just said is, I think, completely. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. First of all, let me say that.
Of course.
I think like you said, it just shows. It shows the calmness that can happen in panic and like in mass hysteria almost. So I'm simple when I think of like things like this, because I could talk for hours and hours, but
yeah.
So can I. I mean, this show, that and Into the Woods, like Puck was my dream role ever since I was a kid. Like
this is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, it was the first Shakespeare I've ever saw when I was a kid, and I was obsessed with Puck. And I went to school where I was able to play that character. Like that is something I never take granted for.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think we're getting up to our time right now. So I wanted to thank you both for just talking with me, for really just having like a discussion. Do you guys have any questions about like anything at the moment before we finish up?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm in my house. I just finished finals, so I finished my first year of my grad program. All I have left is independent studies, and then I get my master's, so I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything over the summer?
So I don't know yet. Depends on what happens with work.
Right.
If I do anything, I might be getting like a part-time job, and I'm going to be trying to work on, I work for a nonprofit called Apple Tree Arts. And so they're trying to figure a way to do some form of like a concert version of a show or something just to stream and get rights for and produce and show. So I don't know yet. It's very fluid.
It's a crazy time.
It's fantastic.
But I mean, Gina Raimondo just started opening the state up. Tomorrow's going to be like the beginning of opening stuff up again. So
Oh, good.
Lucky.
who knows what actually is going to happen.
California needs to get their things together.
We like just got here.
Wow.
We've been here for like essentially 2 months.
Hey, 2 more months than like most than me or anything like that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
wrong.
Well, I'm going to finish this up, and thank you again, guys, for everything that you did.
Thank you for doing all this.
Yeah. Thank you, Daddy.
Have fun working. I'm so sorry that you have to work, Joey.
I'm gonna hop into this next Zoom for like a couple minutes.
Good. Thanks.
Just to say hi to everyone, and then I'll just sneak off, kind of. I'll go like this, and I'll sneak off.
Sounds
If
good.
you wouldn't mind
Okay.
just saying I have another Zoom or something.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, thank you guys again. I'm gonna finish this up, and I will see you in a couple minutes.
All right. Bye,
Okay.
Teddy.
See you,
Bye.
bud.
Bye.